All right, I hit record. We'll get started. So welcome everybody for another session of the Journey Builder Bootcamp. Hands-on session number 8, Abandoned Cart Journey Build Part 2. Apologies on the schedule for the hands-on. The wait until event and custom journey build activity will be moved on to the end of October. We're going to be, we're still working through aligning those with the presentation schedule. But today we're going to continue on our build from last week, which was, we had built out, Lakshmi was our builder. We had built out a API event journey entry for an abandoned cart email. And today we're going to continue building out that use case. So let's talk about upcoming sessions for our deep dive series. We've got building AI-driven journeys. That's going to be tomorrow. Hunter Dunbar will be covering that. We've got some really cool sessions next week. SMS push line inbound messages with Naveen, and preview resend app, resend emails and journey builder with Samal, and then Lucas and Sufia in the following week. We also have hands-on sessions every week, and I do apologize for those changing topics. But next week, we'll be looking to create that email subscriber update journey, and then going into some sessions on building that LLM-based use case based on the AI-driven journeys that we're going to be presenting on tomorrow. So a couple more sessions. Please, reach out in the chat if you're interested in being a builder. We'll add you to that, and you can build right alongside with us. Let's talk about the abandoned cart journey, part 2. We covered this last time. So quickly, why is it important that we're doing an abandoned cart journey? It is one of the most successful programs, especially on the e-commerce side. About 70% of shoppers do abandon their cart. And an email with presenting them cart to go back to the website has a really high conversion rate, near 20%. So definitely worth doing in your environment. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be building a dynamic cart leveraging that journey data. So we're going to want to, we're going to look to personalize the, build the email, personalize it in 3 ways. 1, just with a basic greeting. 2, doing some inline AMP script. And then 3, creating that dynamic cart that's going to display all of that data, integrating all that data that we're going to be receiving from the journey itself. Then we'll move on to the journey and add on additional journey activities. One of those is a decision split that we're going to want to check external data. Because as we know, that data coming into the data extension upon entry is stale. We're going to want to use and probably set up a custom attribute in Contact Builder, excuse me, and so we can pull in that data real time, and then build out the rest of the journey, maybe send multiple emails in that abandoned cart journey. And last but not least, do some end-to-end testing, actually send subscribers through and build out that journey. I think we talked about this flow. We'll just cover it really quickly just because of how this works. We've got our entry data extension that we set up last time, and then that is connected, that subscriber key is connected to this universal data extension. That universal data extension is also connected to this cart feed, which has all of the line items that are in the cart that you're going to be wanting to display in that custom table. And then that each of those cart items are connected to a product field, feed, data extension that has all of that relevant information that we want to display for that product itself. So I just wanted to talk about, we'll be digging into that data architecture as we're building out those, that custom table. Last but not least, want to welcome Ogo. She is our guest builder for today. And I'm going to stop sharing. And Ogo, if you want to share your screen and just give us a little bit of a background about you, your experience in Salesforce and Marketing Cloud, etc.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Ogo. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a Salesforce certified marketing cloud consultant, and I've been in the marketing industry for over 10 years now. Currently, I work as a Salesforce marketing cloud expert with Atlantic Credit Unions, and I'm glad to be here to learn from team in this hands-on session. So good to have you all today.
Awesome. Well, that's wonderful. Fantastic, Ogo. Great that you have all this experience. Okay, so first off, we're going to navigate to the journey that we had set up last week, and just to take a look at where we are. So yeah, we'll go to Journey Builder. And sometimes it takes a second. Okay. And then you can see that it's sort of, yeah, we'll go to the folders. That's a good idea. Let's go to the folders. And it should be under hands-on. There's a folder structure there. And it should be under Journey Builder Bootcamp. And there should be a folder there for Abandoned Cart hands-on. Perfect. So we'll click into our journey. And then let's go, if you want to duplicate this tab, we're going to go to the data extension that's attached to this journey, just so that we can see the data that we brought in. And that might be in the similar type of folder structure. Ogo, you know your way around Marketing Cloud. So if you open up that hands-on folder, you might find it, yeah. Yep. And then under Journey Builder Bootcamp, there might be an abandoned cart folder in there. Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so like we had set up last week, a very basic data extension, right? We just wanted to make that connection with our third-party provider, could be the website, and say, hey, we're setting up this abandoned cart journey. We just want to get the data connection, the pipes connected. So we created a very basic data extension here. It's just a subscriber key and email address. So let's click on the Records tab. Let's take a look at the records that came through on that. Okay. And yeah, so pretty basic stuff there. I think one was for Lakshmi from last week, and I think I tested one this morning just to make sure that it was working. So one thought, what I thought we could do is, now that we've got the pipe set up, we know people are coming to the journey. Your next step as you're setting up your abandoned cart journey would be to say, okay, let's just understand what the data points would be that we want to use to personalize this email. And so like what we talked about, there are three areas that we want to personalize. One, we want to personalize like a greeting, like a name. Two, we want to personalize the email depending on whether they've ordered from us before. If they've not ordered from us before, we might have a special message that says something like, new customers get 25% off their first order type of thing. And then the last part, the most important part, is the cart itself. So going in reverse order, because we have that subscriber key, we're going to be able to, based on the data extension that's set up, architecture that's set up, we're going to be able to display that cart information. So I think we're good there. What we could add are two new fields. One field that brings in a name, like a first name that we could use to personalize. And then another one could be whether they've ordered from us before or not. So Ogo, I think what we'll do is we're going to add new fields. And I think we've all had this scenario, right, where we have an existing data extension. Again, it's attached to a journey. Shouldn't have a problem updating fields in a data extension that's attached to a journey. And I know that there are records in this journey. So sometimes it can work where you can add fields, sometimes it doesn't. So let's try it. Let's try editing that field. And let's add a new field for, we could call it first name. Cool. I mean, text seems like that might be the right data type. Maybe we should make that 100, length of 100, just in case. And then let's make that field nullable because we may not always have that data perfect. Let's add one more. And let's just say order. Or let's just change it to customer. Customer's a little clearer, whether they are a customer or not. And that might just be a simple yes or no. We'll leave it as text. It could be a Boolean. Yeah, let's go with Boolean. Boolean will be kind of fun. Let's do Boolean for sure. I like that. And then, yep, I guess the default would be false. And let's make that nullable as well. Perfect. All right, let's try. Oh, and let's add one more field just for fun. Let's call this. Let's do a create date field. So create or created date. Yeah. And if we can add an underscore, kind of like having a all my date extension field perfect without any spaces. So we're going to change that to date. And we'll hit that plus sign over there on the right, and it should put in the default current date. And then you can make that default, even though it doesn't, or not nullable, sorry. You can make that nullable too. All right, let's try hitting save and see if that works for what we needed to do there. Okay, looks good. Okay, excellent. So now that we've updated these data in the data extension, I want to, we'll now basically communicate with our third-party provider and say, hey, we've updated our data extension. Can you update the payload that you're going to be sending these new records? We want to validate this is coming through, or not. So Ogo, I'm going to share my screen. I've got Postman set up in my environment, and we're going to modify that Postman payload so that we can align with what you had just added for those fields. And I've actually got a record for you as well. So let me just make one modification here. Let me go to this contact for you that I created in our CRM environment. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to update this payload. This was the same payload we had built last time, where we're going to put in your subscriber key here. And then let's go back to that email address. Copy that email address. And let's copy your first name. Okay, excellent. And then, Ogo, I'm going to need you to help me tell me what the name of that last field that you created. We're going to add a new payload field. Was that customer?
Created dates.
Created date we won't need to pass because that will get created automatically. But did we create a field called customer?
Yes, we did.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to try that as true to see if we can get that to come through. Okay, so we updated, and first name we also created, right? That was the other field?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've got the API event for the journey. I've updated the contact key and the subscriber key, one of the same. This is for Ogo's record. It should be in will now be in Marketing Cloud. Here's her email address, first name, And then this is the Boolean field. Hopefully we'll get that populated. Let me just hit save on that. I'm going to go back into my auth call, and I'm just going to create a new token. I'm going to copy that token back over into our post. I'm going to go into authorization, I'm going to replace that, go back to the body. Let's hit send. Okay, we have success there. So that was the update. This is what the third-party group would be doing to say, okay, let's update the payload. And again, the payload could be one of the fields that could be coming in for your abandoned cart, could be the entire cart itself. That is often a use case. It might come in like an XML format, might be this long string of all of those items. Again, the use case that we have, we are building our cart based on some data extension values that are in Marketing Cloud. But that's an example of how it's typical setup. Again, you want to set up the pipes, make sure it's working, and then you could go back into your data extension and update your payload to understand what's all the complex fields that are coming over. And then always good to, invest in understanding how to make basic API calls with a tool like Postman, because you can, as you're working with your third-party vendor or your third-party group, say the website team, it could be internal, it's good for you to test stuff on your end so that the fields can be populated and can be working before you pass it over to them. So let me stop sharing. And then Ogo, if you want to share, what we're going to want to do is we'll go back to that journey, see if that new record that I just sent through for you came in, and then we'll double check that data extension to see what those values are looking like as well. So if we go back to the journey, let's hit that view event results down there in the lower left-hand corner and see if anything came through. Okay, good, we've got a new contact. So that's all good. Let's go back to your data extension. That was cool that you had refreshed it. We should hopefully see, yep, we've got 3 records. So we've got a new record in there. Let's take a look at that record, see what we got. Excellent. So we've got those new fields. We've got that true working, so sometimes Boolean values can be tricky. Sometimes a 1-0 works depending on your data. So I'm kind of glad to see that worked. And then it's kind of handy, you got that created date in there. Okay, so I think we've got all of our data in here that we're going to need to do that personalization. But we might come back to this to refer to it. So Olga, what we're going to do is let's duplicate this tab. And now we're going to go create our email. So yeah, we'll go into content, build, yeah, perfect. And if we go under email, and then under hands-on, and then under Journey Builder Bootcamp, and let's create a new folder. Let's call it, abandoned cart email. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to be creating an email using an email design system. So we're going to click Create Email Message. We're going to go into that, yep, and we're going to select Template. And then in that Saved tab, we're going to go to that Folders. And then in hands-on, there's an email design system folder. Just a quick overview of this folder, which we like to set up when we're creating an email design system. It's got certain items. You've got a template, which is your template for your overall email. You've got test emails you're building. You've got modules, which are the components the content blocks. We've got scripts, and then you've got development folder, which is sometimes used if you're developing different features and functionality, and images as well. So we're going to go to the template folder. There should just be one template in there. So we'll select that template, and we'll hit select. So this is a, you can sort of see it in a little thumbnail over there on the left. The basic template allows you to drop blocks in like a header, body, and a footer section. So you can name this whatever you want, like maybe abandoned cart, email, hands-on. Perfect. And then we'll go to the add, yep, with the next button. Okay, let's put in a subject line because it'll always ask us and prompt us that. So could say something like, we noticed you left a few items in your cart, something like that. And we'll hit done on that. And then in the pre-header, we could say, click to go back to your cart. All right, I've got a question. If it is an abandoned cart journey, then customers must be registered to purchase something, right or not? If it's registered, then how can a customer be false? Okay, so that question's a good one. Abandoned cart journey, then a customer must be registered to purchase something, right or not? If it is registered, how customer can be false? Okay, so what we're looking for is someone who's ordered from us before. That's the flag there. So you could be a customer who abandons a cart. You could also be someone who's never ordered from us to abandon a cart. So we're sort of looking to delineate a new customer versus an existing customer. Great question. And second question was, did you ever create AMP, not AMP script email? Do we have free resource where all AMP code already present, like Bootstrap, to add an email to make them more interactive? I have seen AMP emails be created. They are super cool. Something we've dipped our toes in a little bit. They are complex because I believe you have to have like a backup HTML email if it's not acceptable, depending on the certain environments. I think it only works in Gmail, doesn't work in Outlook. Definitely something we could explore in another session. Let's see, Lakshmi, to add products to a cart. Yes, good point, Lakshmi, thank you. You don't, depending on most websites, you don't need to be registered. You don't need to be a customer. We're primarily looking just to try to get those customers, those prospects converted. Okay, great questions. All right, so Ogo, we're gonna go now and start adding pieces and parts to create this email. So if you go to the content tab over there on the left, yeah, we're gonna go to that folders. And we're going to go to the modules folder in the email design system. Perfect. Let's bring over the header one logo. It's like yep, we'll just drag that over. We'll drop it in the header content section. And then let's click on that image there in the upper left-hand corner. We can swap, yep. And click it on there, and we can swap out this image. So if you double click on it, it might pull up, there we go. And if you hit that replace, yep. And I recently added that NTO logo there. So if you grab that, hit select, that will replace that Cervelo logo with the Northern Trail Outfitters. And that all looks good. We can hit OK. And then we can hit done editing on that block. That looks great. Excellent. The next thing that we'll want to bring over is let's bring over the footer. So footer without social media. And let's drag that into the footer content. There's not much we have to do there. So yeah, let's click on that logo. See if we can swap out that logo as well for the NTO logo. Awesome. Cool. Let's go back to our modules folder. Let's bring in, excellent, thank you for going back there. Let's bring in, let's see if you scroll down a little bit, there should be an image. Yeah, let's bring over that image full width and drop it in the body content section. Yeah, let's double click on that image and we can replace it. There should be a cart image. Yeah, it's that second one down, that 916 shopping image. Yeah, let's click on that. And it's kind of big. Let's click back into that image. And yeah, let's adjust that. Maybe make that 400 width. Kind of big. And it should do its automatic adjusting there. Let's try that. See what that does. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, excellent. Let's go back to our modules. Let's bring over, there's a greeting block, which is going to bring over that. And let's see if we can drop that right below the image itself. Okay, excellent. We can hit done editing there. And then let's bring over, there's a body text left. So if we scroll down, yeah, let's bring that, let's add that right below the greeting. Perfect. And then one last thing, there's a header script at the top. Let's bring that header script and add that to, right below the image. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, the basics of an email that is looking really good. Great question on the image content block. It's a block that we've set up to work within this email design system. So I believe it is a free-form block, and it's been set up to sort of work as you sort of saw it work with the image replacement. I think we're going to be doing an email studio bootcamp, and so we'll go into setting up email design system in a little bit more detail in that session. Great question. Okay, so let's talk about personalization. We've got this data extension that's got all this cool data. Let's start with greeting. So we see that greeting there. We want to figure out how to populate this variable. So what we do know is that we have a variable called @greeting that's going to display there. So now what we want to do is we want to go to that header script block, and we're going to use AMP script to set that greeting. So this block does have some, it's got some data here already, which is kind of handy. So it's got this greeting variable right there. And that greeting variable on line 8 is being set to an attribute value of greeting. So that is, in our data extension, we know that that value is not actual greeting. Let's go back to the data extension and find the value, the field name that has that first name in there. We'll just replace that there, and then that should work. Yep, so let's copy that first name. And we'll just paste it. So we'll paste it in the quote section where it's, yep, that's where we'll want to put that first name. Perfect. Okay, so let's preview this. Let's just see. It's basic personalization. Let's go to the preview and test. We're going to select the data extension to see if we can get your name to render there, Ogo? Yeah. I think it's under Journey. I think it was under Journey Builder Bootcamp. Yep. And then under the abandoned cart hands-on. Yep. And then let's select your record. Awesome. Fantastic. Let's just scroll back one record and just see what happens if we don't have a value in there. Okay, so you could build an if statement that says if that value is not there, then use a dear customer type of message. But I think we're good for right now. We'll keep it simple and move on to the next personalization. Okay, next personalization value, we want to create some sort of custom message that is going to be based on whether that customer value shows that it's it's existing as true or not true. So let's go back into our header script. Let's duplicate line 8. So let's copy line 8 and we're going to create it right below. Perfect. And let's change that variable to customer. So at customer. So we'll go back to that. Yep, let's copy that. Perfect. Yep, we're going to paste that in the quote section. Cool. And that's also, I like how you were doing. Let's paste that into the variable as well. We'll name that at. Perfect. Excellent. Okay, now we've got that variable. Now let's go do some inline AMP script on that variable and just have that display. So let's go to that body text left block. And so the block that says this is, yeah, perfect. Now you can edit this right in the WYSIWYG, editing this copy, but I kind of like to typically use the HTML editor. I've seen some experiences where when you're editing that copy in the WYSIWYG, it can change formatting, it can be a little bit wonky. If you edit in the HTML editor, you'll always know for sure what you're changing in here. So it can be a little codey and a little uncomfortable as you're starting out in HTML, especially if you're not totally familiar with HTML. But the more you spend time with it, the more you'll find success there. So definitely recommend that. Okay, so let's highlight that entire text section. This is body left placeholder, and we're just going to replace it with, and so we can just type in for new customers, you'll receive a 25% off coupon after your first order. Perfect. Okay, excellent. So now we want to add in the AMP script functionality to display this only if that at customer variable is true. Yep, awesome. So what we'll do in that AMP script, or right in that HTML actually. So let's do this right on line 1, right before the table begins. See that open caret where there's a table on line 1? So if you go past that Cervelo mock body text left, that part. And then there's like a dash dash, and yep, right there. Yep. So this is where we're going to start. We're going to do it right after that caret, right before, perfect. So to open up an inline AMP script block, we're going to do a %%. And then we're going to do a square bracket, an open square bracket. And then we're going to do an if statement. So we'll do an if. Yeah. And then we're going to do a space. And then we'll do at customer and space. And then we're going to do an equals equals. I always forget this is 2 equals space. And then we'll do a single quote. And we'll do true. Could do it like probably lowercase is fine. Yeah, either way, that works. I don't think it's case sensitive. Yeah, and then we'll do this end quote. And then we're going to do a space. And then we'll do a then. We're going to do a close bracket %%. Excellent. And then at the end of the table on line 14, right after that table finished, yep, we're going to do a %% open bracket. And then we're going to do an end if. That end if will need to be all one word. And then we're going to do a close bracket and %%. Okay, cool. Let's hit done editing on that. And then let's click back into that block. I just want to click into there. Let's go into the HTML editor real quick. Okay, just wanted to point this out. Ogo, I loved how you were doing the spacing, where you were doing that %% open bracket, and then adding some lines. And then, you were doing that like you were building in like a code snippet block. That was awesome. And just wanted to point out freeform, the challenge of doing AMP script coding in a freeform block. And that was the perfect illustration of it. If you're not using a code, we've mentioned this before, always use a code snippet block whenever you're doing your AMP script coding. You'll see in the header script block that we created the code snippet block. And obviously you can't really use a code snippet block for freeform when you're using it for inline. But this is a good example of what those freeform blocks do. They'll take your coding as you're trying to align your coding and make it look good in this HTML editor, and they'll change it and reformat it to what you see here, which is helpful. But it also, if you're looking to format your AMP script in a certain way so that's readable by your team, Salesforce will change that. So whenever you're doing just pure HTML, pure AMP script coding, use a code snippet block. Obviously, you can't do that in freeform, but this is a really good illustration of how that just automatically changes. It just sort of adjusts based on the freeform characteristics of that block. And thank you, Bilal, for that short code. That's another good way of doing the AMP script as well. Okay, excellent. Let's see if we can preview this in the data extension and see what happens. So Ogo's record should see that display. And I think you have to select that data extension again. Sometimes it does this in Marketing Cloud. Sometimes it comes up automatically. Sometimes you have to reselect it. And I'm not sure why it does that. Anybody know? Anybody know the answer to that? We'll go to Journey Builder Bootcamp. And we're going to go to, yep, awesome. Click your record. Okay, excellent. Let's go scroll back to one record before. Yeah, nothing's there. It doesn't have the, what we would have a regular message in here as well, the card itself. So good, so that seems to work nicely. It's doing as expected. Only if that value is true do we see that custom message. So that's another example of how to personalize using that journey data that's coming in for that abandoned cart message using inline AMP script. Okay, one more thing I wanted to do a little tweak on this. Ogo, so if we go back to the content block, your content tab, so you see all that AMP script right there. It's kind of that if and all that's kind of not the best representation of it, or can be kind of like doesn't really look good depending on who's using this. So if you have like a marketer who's like, what's all this code? Like, is that what's going to be actually going to be shown in the email? If you go back to the HTML editor and let's cut the code that you created up in that inline statement. So the percent bracket, all of that. So if you start at the percent bracket side of it, a little further to the left. Actually, we'll do something a little bit easier. If you take that right before that percent, there's a dash arrow caret. If you cut that, the dash and the caret itself. Yeah, you can actually just delete that. Okay, and then at the end of your AMP script, the square bracket and the percent at the top on line 1. Yep. If you just do a space and then a dash. Yep, and then a dash. And then just remove that space right there. Okay. So there's a way of how you can sort of hide that AMP script if you use that, if you open it up with that caret exclamation point dash, and then if you close it with the dash caret, that removes that AMP script from viewing it in that content block. So again, if you take that AMP script on line 9, that entire AMP script, yeah. Yeah, if you just cut that, and then if you paste it, yeah, right after, perfect, right there, yeah. It's displayed, it doesn't display there on the right, so that's kind of handy. Anyways, we've heard from some sources in Salesforce that having that exclamation point dash can impact performance and may not be recommended, but I kind of like it because it keeps it clean. I've never really seen any issues with it, because it can be like your email on the right could just be this massive block of AMP script, and it's just like, yikes, what's going on there? Anyways, okay. All right, part 3, the cart. Let's dig into the cart. Okay, so the first thing that we need to figure out what is going to be in your cart, Ogo, is we need to bring in that subscriber key as a variable from the data extension. So I'm going to have you go back to that header script, and if you can create a new variable that's going to be, that subscriber key, that would be awesome. Yes, HTML comments to hide your code. That is correct, Bilal. Awesome, fantastic. Okay, nicely done. All righty, so now we're gonna build the cart. We've got this awesome subscriber key, and let's go navigate to determine, to understand the data relationship that we need to, build this cart. So Ogo, if you have that last tab that you had created, let's go to the data extension folder. What we're going to do is we're going to navigate to this cart feed data extension. And it is in the Journey Builders Bootcamp data extension under hands-on. You might have to go to the subscribers tab because you might still be in content yet. And then if we go to data extensions, excellent. And it might be in just the general Journey Builder Bootcamp folder. I might not have moved those down into, so it's, yep, right there, yep. Perfect. Okay, so let's go to this data extension called cart feed. It's the second one down. So this is the cart that's coming in, might be something that that third-party service, that website is sending to you via FTP that you're pulling into this data extension, updating via an automation. Again, it might be coming in the payload. So if you click on the records tab, this is really basic cart feed. It's the subscriber key, when the cart was created, what the SKU number is, and the quantity. So Ogo, if we go back to the email, let's just preview that email, because what it's going to do is show your subscriber key. I just want to use that so we can just track and see what's in this cart. Okay, so you see there over there on the left, that subscriber key, it ends in RIAU. It's a 003 number. So that's your subscriber key. Let's go back to that data extension. Let's see if we can find some values that have that subscriber. So you can see at the bottom, there's three records. You've got 3 different cart items here, 3 different SKUs, and then the quantity of them there. Let's duplicate this tab. So that's one data source is the cart feed itself. Once we get that cart item, then we're going to want to look up another data extension which has a list of all the details about that SKU number. So if you click on the next tab, we're going to go to the same folder, and there is a NTO product feed. It's like the 7th or 8th one down. Yeah. So this is another similar data extension you might have. You might have from the website a daily load of all the SKU items that you can have in a data extension that you can leverage. So with that SKU number that is coming from the cart feed, we can look up here and we can pull in some important information to display in the cart, like the product, which would be the name, the image that we want to, that's going to display the actual item, what the price is, a link to that item itself. So this is what we're going to want to do. We're going to want to take, Ogo, your subscriber key, and we want to look up to that first data extension, that cart feed, to find every record that exists in this data extension that has that subscriber key. Once we find each one of those records, we want to set a variable for the SKU number and the quantity to do that. So what we're going to do that is we're going to use the lookup rows functionality. Ogo, have you done lookup rows before?
A bit rusty. I've done it once or a few times.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our handy guide in the AMP script guide. So if we open up a new tab, not in Marketing Cloud, but yep, and let's search for AMP script lookup rows. Perfect. Return. And there it is, the AMP script guide, lookup rows. So there's a couple of different variations of lookup and lookup rows. So what lookup rows does is obviously in the name rows, right? You're looking for, so you have a scenario where you need to return multiple rows of data. It's not a single row, so that's what lookup rows is. We'll also use lookup, which is looking up a specific row. So that's the difference there. It's relatively straightforward as far as how it works. There's 3 key variables. You can see those 1, 2, and 3. So the function is lookup rows, you open paren, and then it's the variable 1 is the name of the data extension where you want to return those rows. The second variable is the column in the data extension that identifies that subscriber or the value that you're looking to find. And then the third value is the actual variable that you're looking to do the lookup. So Ogo, if you scroll down a little bit, there gives you, this guide is so handy, it gives you an example. If you scroll down a little bit in the blue section, it's going to give you an example of the actual code itself. So if you keep scrolling down, they'll give you, yeah, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy, starting at the line that's set at rows equals lookup rows. So we're going to copy, yep, from that line all the way down to that end if. Keep going all the way down. Yep, let's copy that. And then we're going to go back into our email. And we're going to go to that header script. And now there's a bunch of stuff here that's not really necessary. So after your subscriber key variable, let's just hit return after that, just to, that's even better. Let's highlight line 11 all the way down to line 30. Yep. And let's just paste in your new code. Awesome. And then let's just add another space after subscriber key, after line 10. It's just going to break up this lookup rows from your variable section. Awesome. Okay. So there's the functionality, lookup rows. You can see there's 3 variables, right? So the first variable is the data extension name. So let's go to that cart feed data extension and let's go copy the name. Yep. And then we're going to paste that where loyalty members is. Awesome. And then we need to find the field in that data extension that has that subscriber key. So if we go back to cart feed, and we need the field value that would contain that subscriber key. And sometimes it's easier. So you're going to want to copy the actual, sorry, not the field, but the actual column. My mistake. So the column name, the field name.
This one, right?
So you'll want to do, you'll want the subscriber key. So the subscriber key is the field that we're doing the lookup to find a subscriber where you exist as that subscriber. So yeah, perfect on subscriber key. Let's go back to the code. And then we're going to paste that where region is. Perfect. And then the last value, instead of at region, we're going to use the at subscriber key variable, which you set on line 10. So if you want to copy that, yep. Awesome. Excellent. So we're looking up this cart feed. We are going to find the column subscriber key, and we wanted to return all of those rows of data where that subscriber key is the one for Ogo. So we've got that set up correctly. That's looking really good. Let's go back into the code. We still have a couple of things we need to modify. The set at row count is basically converting that at rows variable into something that can be counted, because it's a weird variable that gets returned. So that's what that set at row count's doing. You can delete line 15. We do not need that. We're not going to be outputting line 15. Okay, awesome. And then the next section that we're doing, this is the for loop. So this is going to do the following things for however many times we find OGO based on her subscriber key in this date extension. So that's why there's that if statement. It's saying, hey, proceed if that row count is greater than 0. Obviously, if there's no find for any OGO in this date extension, we don't want to move forward. And then it's going to say, okay, if that row count is greater than 0, then we want to do it however many times that row count is. So we're going to set a variable at I, and it's going to go 1 to however many times. It's going to go through the following loop. So here's our loop inside of that for loop. So let's in that var statement on line 20, let's just delete those 3 variables in there, just because you can keep the var in there, but we're just going to delete the variables that are right after it. So you can delete email address, first name, and rank. You can delete all 3 of those. Okay, great. We might add the variables there. Okay, the set at row, that basically sets the row. That's line 21. So as it's going through each one of those rows, it's basically setting what row to return those variables. And then you've got 2 variables there that are set. For this example, it's first name and it's also email address. So let's go back to the abandoned cart, the cart feed date extension, and let's take a look at the fields that we want to bring over for each one of your rows. So we want to bring over the AC SKU is the variable. That is going to give us the item number. So let's copy that. Let's go back to our code. Now you're going to want to paste this in the quote section where that first name is. So instead of first name, you want to paste in that AC SKU. Sorry, in the quote section.
Okay.
Sorry, on line 22, you were on the right line, but in that quote, yeah, there you go, right there. So we'll set that there. And then we can also set that as a variable too. So you were right on so you can set at AC SKU. So in that on line 22, instead of at first name, you could set it to the AC SKU. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. All right, and then let's go back to the cart feed date extension. There's one other variable we want to also want to bring in, which is the quantity. Let's do the same thing that you just did for the AC SKU. And we'll just change that. Yep. Excellent. Very good. Perfect. All right. And then we got a little bit of cleanup to do here. So lines 25 through 29, we don't need any of that. That was something that was not needed for this use case. And then you can delete line 27. Oh, I'm sorry, delete down line 25. Sorry, if you can undo that, yep. Excellent. You can delete lines 28 through 30. And then on line 26, let's remove that bracket %%. And then you can remove the bracket %% on both ends of that end if. Because we're an AMP script block, that was more, the example that we're using was more inline. Okay, fantastic. Let's hit save. Been doing some great work here. We want to make sure that that's captured. Let's go back into that header script. Okay, so I know we're getting close to, we're actually over time, but we want to get this outputted, just get this to work, just to show that we produced something. So Ogo, do you have 5 more minutes? We can.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so what we want to do is each time that we go through this this for loop, we want to capture that AC SKU and the quantity, because it's going to change after each time it goes through it. So on line 24, we're going to create a new variable. So let's do a set there. You can just type, yep, set, S-E-T, perfect. And then let's call that variable, let's do a space, yep. Let's call that table. Okay, and then we're going to do equals. And then we're going to use a function called concat. So it's C-O-N-C-A-T. We're going to do an open paren. And then we're going to copy over that at table variable.
Okay.
Yep. And that's going to be the first thing inside that paren. And then we're going to do a comma. And we're going to do, we're going to take that AC skew variable, we're going to add that there. And we'll add that after the comma. And then before the AC skew, right before, yep, we're going to do a single quote. And let's type right after that single quote, right before the AC skew variable. Yep, let's type cart item.
One word, right? No space.
Sure, that's fine. Yep, and then let's do a colon. Yep, and then a space. Okay, and then after that single quote, let's add a comma. And then can you add that space right back, right after, thank you. Okay, great. And then we're gonna do, so what we're basically doing is we're trying to output something so we can see how this looks. Okay, great, so we've got the AC skew. Let's hit comma after AC skew. And then let's copy what you created for cart item, like the entire thing with the single quote all the way to the end, yep, perfect. Yep, we're gonna paste that in after that comma. And then let's change that to quantity. Perfect. And then after that single quote, comma, we add a comma there. And then let's add in the at quantity. And let's do a comma. Let's do a single quote. We're just going to do a single quote there. We're not going to do it. Yep. And then let's do an open bracket in that. Yep. And let's type in BR. And instead of the parens, could we do like a caret, like an open bracket, which is like looks like a yes, and then the other on the other side. Perfect. Okay, so what this is going to do, and then we're good there. I think that's all we needed. So what this is going to do is that each row is going to output the cart item and the quantity. So we're building the basics of this table. So we just want to see how this works. And then what it's going to do is each time that it goes through that for loop, it's going to keep adding each one of those rows. That's why we're doing the at table first in that concat statement. So it's going to take the previous row and then it's going to keep adding on top of it. And that's why we had to use that BR in there. It's going to create a new line so it doesn't all get jumbled. Okay, so that should work. We should be able to output what the 3 cart items from that table. So let's go over to our Yep, let's go. And let's go to, let's add a new body text left right above the greeting.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Let's just duplicate the greeting. So if you go back to that greeting block, and then to the right, there's that little arrow down. Yep. Let's just hit duplicate. Perfect. And then instead of greeting, let's change that to table. So at table. All right, let's hit done. Fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. Hopefully this should display the basics of your table doing that lookup. So let's do that's preview against your record and see what we've got here for data, right? So pretty basic. We're just starting building this cart, but it's doing what it needs to do. So it's got that cart item. Obviously, it'd be nice if we just outputted like a comma or something. But those are the three values that, Ogo, that you have in that data extension based on your subscriber key. So in a future session, what we can do is, now that we have those items, now we can look up into the other data extension to find the description, the image, the link, the price, and then that's what we're going to use to output the table itself. We obviously got quantity there as well, but that's a big start, doing those lookup rows. That was the most complex part of building this, this custom cart. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, anybody? I know this was a little bit more on the AMP script side, building emails, but it was rooted in the journey, the abandoned cart journey, and how you would build a complex table based on journey data. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining. We're going to hopefully continue building this in our next session to build out that custom table that makes sense, or we might choose a different journey topic altogether. And thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Ogo. Great job.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
You too. Bye.